Okay guys, welcome to today's video. I'm going to talk about rumors and things that are going around about Microsoft and Linux. Now Microsoft purchased GitHub, and that just makes me feel all kinds of bad. Okay. But there are people out there who are excited about it. Now I've made reference to Microsoft changing their systems over, and the next operating system coming, when Windows 11 would release, would probably be a Linux-based system. But I didn't make what I was talking about completely clear. It will always be Windows, right? But you have to realize Linux is open source. Microsoft can take that code and rewrite it for their own purposes, and then you would have a Linux-based system. Because they can take the very best that Linux has to offer, being that it is open source, change everything, and then create a much more effective operating system, but one that still does do what Windows 10 does. Call home, call home, call home, call home, call home. Now, there are people that are a little bit excited about this idea that Microsoft is taking an interest in open source. I don't believe it is anything to be excited about. Microsoft has historically proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, not beyond a reasonable doubt, but if they were a mass murderer, they would be going to the chair. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are an unethical company with unethical business practices like Walmart. And that in mind, the Linux community should be concerned about Microsoft. You're dealing with a company that is more powerful than many countries in the world are. That's how big Microsoft is. And they aren't dedicated to quality or anything like that. They don't need to be. The only thing that matters to large corporations, all corporations to a point, but large corporations, is the bottom line and how much money their board of directors and their stockholders are getting. Now, the model of that is actually not a bad model, but when those who are running companies start to suffer from the mental illness of extreme viewpoints, that's when we start to have problems with it. So it's not going to be a long video today because it doesn't really need to be. Microsoft's involvement in the open source community, I do not believe is a good thing. Big companies buy things to dismantle them, and that's the only reason. See, BlackBerry almost completely went the way of the dodo. Now that used to be Research in Motion, was the name of the company, RIM. And then through their various difficulties, they changed their name to BlackBerry, which was a mistake. But that's all that RIM has done for a very long time, is make mistakes. And there was an offer on the table, I believe, if I remember correctly, from Google to buy the company. And because it was being purchased at that time from a U.S. entity, there had to be approval from the Canadian government for that to happen, even though it is not a crown corporation. But things used to run very differently in Canada. Canada, at one point in time, when we had a political system that was not globalist based, and I don't mean, there's certain things about global economies that are very good, and there are other things that are very, very bad. Canada's never focused on the good things, just the bad things. Now, I believe that law has changed. I think now that if somebody decided they wished to buy BlackBerry, there'd be no issues. Now, the reason for that protectionism is big companies have a tendency to just buy out their competition and then dismantle the company. Okay? The only reason that Chrysler operates today in Canada, the only reason that General Motors operates today in Canada, and the only reason that Ford operates today in Canada are those laws. Right? Now, as those laws change, things become very, very problematic when it comes to job protection and things like that. And while I am very much in favor with the government getting out of damn near everything, it's a transition period, because today we have corporations that have been allowed to grow far too big. And you look at Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they've all been investigated and charged and paid fines under the antitrust laws in the United States. Think about those words for a minute. Antitrust. Right? It's for unethical business practices. And so don't think for a second that one of the I hate to say the word evil because it's overused, but one of the evilest corporations in the world has anything benevolent to do with open source, Linux, any of that. They will do their very best to use their power to change it for their advantage. Don't be naive, and don't be naive enough to think that they cannot. Right? Reject all things Microsoft. That is the only messages you can send to them. And if enough people start going, I'm not using Microsoft products anymore, there won't be a Microsoft. And that is also a good thing. Right? Sometimes you got to sometimes you always have to break a few eggs if you want to make an omelet. It's time to break some eggs. Have a great day, guys. We will catch you next time. Ciao for now.